Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. I upload travel and lifestyle videos weekly on Wednesdays. So this week I was originally going to upload the next leg of our road trip where we visited the Petrified Forest National Park for a day. But with everything going on in the world, I wanted to share with you guys the meal plan that I made for about a month's worth of meals for 2 people. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. I want to start off the video by showing you guys a haul of everything I was able to get at Smith's this morning being the previous Sunday prior to you guys watching this video. So I'll put a timestamp on the screen as well as down in the description of where the actual prep starts. But here are the containers I got for the chicken pot pies as well as the lasagna I'll be making. And then to start off with the produce, I got us some bananas for this week, some onions, some limes for Nathan's Coronas, some lemons so I can make some lemon bars, and then some peppers. These were actually on sale because they are about to expire, but I'll be using them today. And then I got us a total of 10 pounds of ground beef. I'll be using 5 pounds today, and then I'll be freezing the other 5 for a future meal plan. And then I bought everything to make a meat marinara sauce for spaghetti as well as lasagna. So I've got the tomatoes and sauce right here, as well as like noodles, ricotta cheese, parmesan for the lasagna. And then I'm also going to make some freezer French toast as well. And then I've got some tortillas and refried beans to make us some bean and cheese burritos. I already have a block of cheese in the fridge. Future Jessica here. I used more cheese than I planned on for the lasagna and didn't have enough to make the burritos, so those will be made at a later date. Fridge. So I've already got some of the ingredients, but I'll show you guys, or I'll include all of the recipes down below with a grocery list as well as what I already had and how much you'll need to make everything if you guys decide to do this exact meal plan yourself. And then I got the diced chilies as well as some chili powder to make some chili for us. And then everything right here is for the chicken pot pies. So I got the pie crust, celery, carrots, peas, and then, oh my gosh, you guys, this stuff is great. So, if you guys saw my Instagram stories, why is this not focusing? There we go. So if you saw my Instagram stories, you would have seen that one of the things that people seem to really be stocking up on is broth. So if it's sold out in your area like it is mine, look for this stuff. It's absolutely amazing. I use this in my everyday life as well. But basically you can use this to make either broth or chicken broth, beef broth. They've got one for veggie broth. And they have a couple other ones as well, but I love it because it's only, I think it's $4.29 for a jar of this, and it makes 38 servings of broth. So it is a lot better value, and not many people seem to be stocking up on this right now, at least. So I already have an open jar in the fridge that I'll be using for the pot pies, but I wanted to grab another jar just to be safe. And then I got some teriyaki sauce to make a teriyaki pork roast, some refried beans to make some of the straight corn tostadas that I love, and Nathan does as well. I've got the pineapple chunks for the sweet Hawaiian chicken is what it's called that I'll be making. And then right here I've got the ham and of course more pineapple chunks for I think it's just ham with pineapple that I'll be making. I'll be able to get 2 dinners out of this ideally. And then everything else over here is just kind of the other stuff that we were stocking up on. So we got some flour and sugar. These were like the only ones there. They had a few bags of this and a few bags of this left. I grabbed the last 2 boxes of mac and cheese because they make great easy dinners and lunches. A loaf of bread, some brown sugar, and then we wanted to make some cupcakes, so we got a couple boxes of funfetti and the icing. Oh, and then I bought this. They didn't have heavy cream, so I just bought whipping cream for some Alfredo that I love to make, that I talked about in my March favorites video. And then lastly, some soap, of course. We have some, but just to be on the safe side. Oh, and then actually last but not least, we got 2 cases of water as well. So that was everything we bought. I'll put how much we spent on the screen right here. And yeah, let's just go ahead and get into the meal prep portion of the video. With the precautions that are being taken in regards to COVID-19, I wanted to make enough meals to last Nathan and I a month if need be. Plus, with me working until 7, this is going to make my life so much easier. I started off by browning 5 pounds of ground beef in a large soup pot since I would be using that for both the meat marinara sauce and the chili. In the future, I'll chop up the vegetables first since they're ready to add into whatever I'm making, but hindsight's 20/20, right? Anyways, while the meat was browning, I pulled out what I would need to make both the marinara and the chili and opened all the cans to make adding them to the pot easy. Once the meat was fully cooked, I drained the grease, removed the ground beef, and gave the pot a rinse so I could use that to make the marinara. From there, I began chopping up the onions, celery, and carrots. I chopped up 4 onions for various meals. My knife skills aren't the best in this video, but I love this method for chopping an onion. It's quick, easy, and the biggest benefit is your eyes don't water due to science. Once I was done with the onions, I started chopping up the celery and the bag of baby carrots for the chicken pot pies. I didn't realize my camera stopped filming, so unfortunately I didn't have any footage of me slicing up the carrots or finishing up the celery. Now that I had the onions ready to go, I put the large soup pot back on the stove with 3 pounds of ground beef and started adding everything for the marinara sauce. I used 4 large cans of diced tomatoes, 1 huge jar of Kroger tomato and basil spaghetti sauce. The recipe calls for 12 ounces of tomato paste, but apparently I only had 1 6-ounce can, so I added that next. I thought the sauce was plenty thick without it, so don't stress if you end up in the same boat. From there, I added 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning, 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar, 2 teaspoons of chopped garlic, or the equivalent of 4 cloves, and last but not least, 1 onion, which I estimated to be about 2.5 cups. After mixing everything together, I let the sauce simmer for 45 minutes. While this was cooking, I proceeded to clean up the disaster zone that was now known as my kitchen. As the sauce was getting close to being done, I realized I needed to leave for my sister's house soon. Originally, I was going to get all of this done in one afternoon, but I underestimated how long it would take me to cook while filming. Kudos to those that do this all the time. I didn't film this, but once the sauce was done cooking, I put most of it in a giant bowl in my fridge and portioned off 3 quart-sized bags to freeze for spaghetti sauce. Alright, so day 2 starts off with making the chili. Originally, I was going to make the garlic bread so I could pop that in a freezer on a sheet pan to harden, but I didn't pull the butter out of the fridge to come to room temperature, so we'll take care of that while the chili's cooking. I started out with 2 pounds of ground beef in the pan, then proceeded to add 1 small can of diced tomatoes, a can of Rotel, 2 cups of water, 6 tablespoons of chili powder in place of the packs of chili seasoning, 3 cans of chili beans, which I used Great Northern, black, and kidney beans, and another onion. I then triple checked the recipe to make sure I wasn't missing anything as it seemed awfully thick, and then proceeded to stir everything together. Once I was certain this was too thick for my liking, I proceeded to add 4 more cups of water for a total of 6 cups, and a large can of tomato puree that I had in my pantry. I then let this simmer for 30 minutes to incorporate the flavors. Once the chili had cooled down, I divided it out into 4 gallon-sized bags and then 3 quart-sized bags. The gallon bags will be used for dinners served with either cornbread or rolls, and the quart-sized bags can be used as toppings for various meals like baked potatoes and hot dogs. Now onto the garlic bread. I started by cutting the French bread into 13 roughly 1-inch size pieces. I then made the garlic butter by combining 1 stick of butter with 1 tablespoon of dried parsley, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, roughly a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of garlic. Once well mixed, I covered one side of the French bread and placed the sheet pan in the freezer. After again cleaning the disaster that my kitchen was, I started assembling the 3 lasagnas I was making. I made a few mistakes while making these, so I'm hoping you learn from my mistakes. The first thing I did was to make the lasagna was mix together a large tub of ricotta cheese, a cup of Parmesan, and 1 egg. You'll see my first mistake here when I attempt to use a bowl that is way too small to mix everything together. Lesson number 1, make sure your bowl is big enough for the ingredients you are mixing. I mixed together the Parmesan cheese and ricotta first to make sure that it was well incorporated. I then added the egg and mixed everything together. From here, I began assembling the lasagna by spreading a thin layer of marinara onto the bottom of the pan to prevent the noodles from sticking. I then began adding the dollops of ricotta mixture, and here's where we see mistakes number 2 and 3. I should have placed the lasagna noodles down before the ricotta mixture, but since that wasn't included in the instructions, I just jumped straight to the ricotta. You'll see me struggle to get the noodles under the ricotta in just a moment. The third mistake I made was making my ricotta dollops way too big, considering I needed this mixture to make 3 total lasagnas. So learn from my mistakes, folks. After fixing my couple of mistakes, I added a layer of Colby Jack cheese and then repeated the process 2 more times to create a total of 3 layers. Once I had made my 3rd layer, I did a light layer of marinara sauce to prevent the noodles from getting crispy while cooking and topped it with a ton of cheese. And there you have it, a roughly made freezer lasagna. I put the other 2 together off camera and set them in the freezer to firm up before covering them with aluminum foil for storage. Lastly, I prepared all of the meals that just needed to be mixed together and frozen. I didn't film most of this because I felt like it would be pretty redundant, as I did the same thing for all of the remaining recipes. I would pour the ingredients in the bag, mix everything together, and then add the meat. In the freezer, I tried to lay everything out as flat as I could for easy, compact storage moving forward. Everybody, Editing Jessica here. So I was putting the final touches on the video that you guys are watching and realized that I never went back and filmed the outro. So I'll include a little overlay here of what our freezer looks like now with all the meals in them. Not everything is pictured because I did disperse some things throughout other portions of the freezer, but I spent a lot longer than I planned on prepping this, just with how long it took me to film. But all in all, I would say it took me about 4, maybe 5 hours to get everything put together for us, which will definitely save me time in the long run. So I hope you guys liked today's video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you guys haven't already. You guys could be anywhere, but thank you for being here with me. Bye guys, and stay safe.